Fantastic stock picks and talk about Cathie Wood's Tesla thesis, how it stacks up against the competitors, how to hedge your investment in Tesla. We'll talk about all of that and more in this video. Reminder, the flash sale for the programs on Building Your Wealth expires next week, so make sure you join those programs, get lifetime access. It's the only sponsor on the channel, so if you appreciate the content, support the channel, join the program, get lifetime access, and I'm confident you will be blown away with the new perspective you can get within them and the course member live streams. Link down below. Now we got to talk about Tesla. We got to talk about not only what Cathie Wood says regarding Tesla, her price target on Tesla, but we got to talk about, is she interested in BYD, and why is she interested in BYD? Are they even remotely interested in automation? What kind of cost curve reductions are we looking at? Is it just batteries, or is there something else to pay attention to as well? And has Elon Musk liked any of Kevin's tweets yesterday? Well, I kind of gave that away. Yes. Follow me on Twitter to find out which one. Actually, no, I'll just show it to you on screen right here. It's kind of cool. I woke up to it this morning. So Elon Musk liked your tweet. Government should never limit the potential of anyone to equalize privilege. Government should help those who were dealt a worse hand. Example given, don't be like California, specifically Culver City, removing honors classes because not everyone is represented. Instead, invest in more education for those following behind. Yes, great tweet. Oh wait, I'm just complimenting myself, I'm sorry. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at RealMeetKevin, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm posting a lot of stories of our real estate travels, including yesterday. We won't be making a video out of that content because it was more of a family day, but you'll get to see some of the houses we were looking at. So check that out, as well as the flash sale on the programs on Building Your Wealth, link down below, which is linked to Tesla Investor Day, which is coming up on March 1st. My thesis, by the way, on Tesla Investor Day, if you haven't yet seen it, make sure to type into YouTube, Meet Kevin. Tesla is bankrupting the competition. Tesla Investor Day preview gives you some pretty cool insights about the potential for what the Model 2 might actually be. And it might be a lot more obvious than it seems. So watch that video. But for now, let's listen to Cathie and respond.
Our flagship strategy, which is ARKK, Tesla is our largest holding. But if you look at ARKQ, which is our autonomous technology and robotics strategy, we also own other names like BYD in China and XPeng and a little NIO as well. Now, why do we think EVs are the place to be? Well, we are analyzing battery technology, but more important, drivetrain technology, which includes batteries. And if you look at the cost curves associated with drivetrains, what you'll see is that for every cumulative doubling in the number of electric vehicles produced and sold, costs declined by roughly 28%. And it seems as though already...
Keep that in mind for a moment. If, let's say, a drivetrain costs $1,000, once you produce twice as many, so let's say Tesla goes from 1 million vehicles to 2 million vehicles, or any electric vehicle manufacturer, she's basically saying that $1,000 is now potentially only going to cost, let's see, 28% minus, so $720. Great, that's fantastic. Now remember, the battery day or the investor day goal is to potentially show how the next master plan 3, MP3, can reduce costs, all costs, by 50% for cost of goods sold of electric vehicles at Tesla. Of course, she's broadly talking about just specifically EV drivetrains and how those cost declines are so rapid, something that you're not seeing in ICE vehicles. Those have already reached essentially their bottom in costs. Like, you're not making internal combustion engines cheaper. They've already hit their low, so to speak. And if anything, their longer term cost has started to trend up because of just the inflationary impetus that we've been going through. But anyway, let's keep going.
Already, the total cost of ownership of an electric vehicle is lower than that of a gas-powered vehicle, which means which helps us understand why last year electric vehicle sales globally were up, I believe it was 62 or 64%, while gas-powered vehicles were down about 7% globally. So the electric vehicle shift is underway. Consumers want electric vehicles. a total cost of ownership cheaper. So last year, there were 7.7 million electric vehicles sold around the world. We think that number is going to 60 million in the next 5 years. Now, the consensus estimate is that it's going to only 20 million. So there's still a big gap between.
Think about that. That's a 3x she's suggesting.
Where we are and where the consensus view is. That 60 million, we believe, will account for 75% roughly of all vehicles sold in 5 years. So electric vehicles, very important. Now, many people focused on Asia say, wait a minute, BYD is winning here. And if you look at last year's sales, BYD's sales, if you look at hybrids and battery electric vehicles, they were up 211% to roughly 1.8 million units, whereas Tesla's vehicle sales were only up 40%. And so the question from Asia is, well, isn't BYD ahead of the game here? You might say yes, based on those statistics, but if you take out
By the way, this is a counter to Charlie Munger, right? Charlie Munger's like, BYD is going so great. So this is basically, without saying it, Cathie Wood directly responding to Charlie Munger. Now, because of where I paused here, she's basically saying, if you take out hybrids, here we go.
Hybrid vehicles, and we think hybrid is going away. Hybrid is two systems in one, much more complicated, much more costly. And you look on that basis, BYD's pure battery electric vehicle sales last year were 900,000, whereas Tesla's were 1.4 million around the world. But electric is not the whole story here. In fact, from our point of view, when it comes to Tesla, their autonomous strategy, autonomous taxi platforms, is much more important than their electric vehicle strategy. In our view, our $1,500 price target for Tesla, it's a little over $200 now, but our $1,500 price target in 5 years is 2/3 because of autonomous. And when we listen to BYD, we do not hear autonomous as a strategy.
That, by the way, my opinion, huge boon for which company? No, I know you're saying Tesla. It's okay. NVIDIA. Seriously, huge boon for NVIDIA there. Now, I don't want to come across as like hyping NVIDIA right now because the darn thing ran so much after earnings because all they did was talk about AI and it's like, rah! Like, I want to buy more NVIDIA. I don't want you guys to pump it on the stud. I understand AI is important. Don't get me wrong. Cathie is going to talk about it as well, okay? Like, yes, but like most companies have already been using AI and developing AI. They've just not really been talking about it since ChatGPT, and now everybody's like, don't worry, we too are working on our AI, yes. Yes, I too am working on AI with our company HouseHack, okay? Like, it's not that big of a deal. But apparently, everybody thinks it's a big deal. But no, NVIDIA. Why? Because when the companies realize they're behind, like Mercedes, who only fixes about, I think it's 17% of their recalls via over their the air updates, companies like Mercedes, what do? Well, they realize they're way behind on autonomy. So as you can see here in the NVIDIA earnings call, and I'll just summarize it here, but basically what you see with, it's 17%. What you see with Mercedes is Mercedes going to companies like NVIDIA for their autonomous and automotive technology, whether it's the systems on chips or whatever, the GPUs for the neural nets, the AI basically for your driving and observation, whatever. I think NVIDIA is actually a big winner of automotive companies falling behind Tesla. I think a lot of people, look at it this way. Toyota, Mr. Toyota from Toyota is like, oh no, hybrids are the way, that's the future. That guy gets fired for reiterating that hybrids are the future and he's part of the silent majority. He's fired. Now, you get somebody else who's coming in. What's he saying? EVs are the future. And it's true, like electric vehicles are the future. So pure EV platforms coming soon for Toyota finally. Finally, they're getting with it. But look at that. That's like 5 or 6 years behind when they should have made that realization. They should have made that realization back in 17 or 18. Now you've got companies that are like, Toyota's another one of them, by the way. Oh, we don't need autonomy. We just need adaptive cruise control or whatever. Like I drove pretty much a brand new Sprinter van yesterday. Sprinter vans, by the way, absolutely beautiful, fantastic cars. I cannot wait until Tesla makes a Sprinter van. And I know that Elon Musk has a place in his heart for the Sprinter van. I think they're just probably too large to gigacast yet, and they got to kind of perfect the model before they get to larger ones. I don't know. That's my hope, and that's the excuse I'm giving. I just hope by 2030 I get a Sprinter van from a Tesla. And that's because I want the autonomy. I'm driving this thing, and it sucks. It sucks. I'm sitting there for like 90 minutes, and I have to hold the steering wheel. Okay, I know that sounds terribly first world, but my point of that argument is once you drive every day and you technically don't drive because you're on full self-driving, you're just sort of supervising, how do you go back? You don't. But the legacy companies are so far behind. They're like, including BYD, and not investing in autonomy, like Cathie Wood says, they're going to be forced to dive into autonomy. And they're not going to have the time to develop it themselves. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to a company like NVIDIA or, Mobileye, which Intel's spinning off. So, or whatever, wherever they can find it. I'm not saying NVIDIA is the only player, but I am saying if you kind of want to hedge to Tesla's autonomy, NVIDIA is actually a very interesting play. Anyways, keep going.
We hear it more with XPeng. But again, they, from a unit volume point of view, are far behind BYD and Tesla. So that's how we're looking at the world right now. I think when you're talking about electric vehicles, you're not talking just about the drivetrain strategies. I think the companies that are going to win, as I mentioned before, are not focused only on electric. They're focused on autonomous, which means they are focused on 3 of our major innovation platforms. First, robotics. Autonomous vehicles are robots. Second, energy storage. They will be electric because the total cost of ownership now for vehicles is lower for electric than gas powered. And 3, artificial intelligence. So these are 3 major platforms. Artificial intelligence will power these autonomous electric vehicles. And we believe that Tesla, from a thought leadership point of view, is leading the charge, so to speak, in this movement towards autonomous electric vehicles. And just in terms of your fragmentation point, the $5,000 vehicles, if you look at the range and performance of those vehicles, there's no comparison to a Tesla Model 3. The range is very limited, the power is very limited. So you really do have to adjust when you're talking about price for range and performance, which is what we do.
Well, most people do, but there are some people who are so convinced that Elon Musk is an evil man that they don't do that. And it's so weird. I feel so terrible about it, but there's someone in my family who is such a person. I still love them. I'll still have beer with them. Whatever. Just saying. It's crazy.
And I do believe that Tesla has, for a given price, the best range and performance of any car on the market today. One other thing, if I could say, David, sorry.
Go ahead.
That we're not just talking about battery technology, drivetrains, when we're talking about autonomous. We're talking, as I mentioned before, about robots, energy storage, artificial intelligence, and we're talking about software as a service. So over-the-air software updates. I bought my first Model 3 in 2018. I have never taken it in for service. I have never been to any station. I don't have to go to a gas station.
Okay, warning, do not ride with Cathie. Her tires are probably bald. Just kidding. That's obviously different than service, but it's like, that's important.
So think about that. How much in the way of costs and convenience I have been saved over these last 5 years. The most important variable, we believe, in this new AI age is proprietary data. And I think if we're looking for killer apps, a lot of people are trying to compare this to the early days of the internet. And we didn't know during the early days of the internet that it was the apps on top of the internet that were going to garner all of the economics, the social networks, of course. And today, what we believe people are missing is that the big winners are going to be those companies that not only have the right AI expertise, but also have the right domain expertise. If you talk about life sciences and multiomics, DNA, RNA, proteins, methylation, you've got to have domain expertise and understand that. But even beyond that, you have to have your own data. So we think that AI is going to cause one of the most profound productivity increases in the history.
This, by the way, is very similar to what Brett Whitten, who's obviously also at ARC, mentioned in the interview with me, which, I mean, you should watch that interview. It's just type into YouTube, Meet Kevin, ARC, invest, and you should see it. Brett Whitten, phenomenal examples of that productivity increase that AI could do in your life, where maybe that AI isn't separate on like ChatGPT, but it's like built into your Excel spreadsheet or your email or your text messages or whatever, and it makes your life so much easier. I mean, I just want to give a simple, super easy example of something that already exists today that makes my life easier. Is like, if I want to say like, if somebody's like, oh, where are you? On an iPhone, I could just type, I'm here, and then it shows up. You press the little button, it's like current location, boom, it already does that for me. Think about that just like on steroids, right? With what, where technology can go in terms of understanding what we're trying to do and then simplifying our lives. It's really incredible. Which always remember, if you also want to simplify your life, use the flash sale down below to get lifetime access to the programs on building your wealth, whether that's a 0 to Millionaire real estate investing course, the most popular right now, followed by Stocks and Psychology of Money. Both of those as a bundle, very, very popular. Fantastic way to learn how to build your wealth in investing. And then if you are looking for making more money as an employee or entrepreneur, more tax benefits, LLCs, whatever, check out the Elite Hustlers course. These come with lifetime access to their live streams, and would love to have you there. Let's keep going.
Of the world. And so you have to, as you're looking at investing, you must look at companies and how they're harnessing AI to lower their cost structures. That's the first killer app. And then other companies that have proprietary data, like Tesla, we'll go back to Tesla. It has collected over the last 5 to 7 years the highest number of real world driving miles in the world. In fact, it has probably collected more miles by an order of magnitude than all of the other auto and tech companies around the world. And that's why we think it is in the pole position to develop and win at the autonomous taxi platform strategy. The first company to get from point A to point B most safely and quickly is probably going to win. So we're looking at a lot of winner take most opportunities in this new AI world. And the winner take most, as I mentioned before, is based on bringing in the right AI expertise, the right domain expertise for your own businesses, and the highest quality and biggest pools of data upon which to train AI. In our flat.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The training of AI as well. It's not just having the machine or some data, it's having a lot of data. And that's probably the hardest part of AI, and that's where she's suggesting Tesla's clearly a leader. And it's I think, a fantastic response to Charlie Munger, and makes me quite excited for seeing what's coming up on Investor Day. Again, watch my video on Investor Day, but just to give you a little preview, personally, I think it's very possible that the Model 2 or whatever that people think is going to be announced at Investor Day, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually that $25,000 car is actually the Model 3. In other words, here's how we can make the Model 3 cost 50% less to produce and sell it for $24,690, whatever they choose, and actually have an affordable car that's amazing. In other words, not going down to a two-door car or not going down to a limited range car to get to 25K, which is generally what people expect with a Model 2. I've also been a believer that in the future a smaller car like that would come out. I do think a car like that makes probably sense for the Chinese markets, but I've adapted my vision, and I agree with Brett Whitten from ARC when he told me in person that the likelihood of a smaller car like that being popular in the United States is very low, because as Americans, we buy a car for that edge case scenario, not for our everyday scenario. So I thought that was really incredible. But anyway, we'll see. That'll be fantastic. Very cool perspective here from Cathie on Tesla and the autonomy.